Today I'll show you a classic accompaniment called Katrikai or Brinjal Gutsu, which goes really well with Venpongal. Stay tuned. First step is going to be cooking the brinjals. So I'm going to switch on the gas. I have a kadhai here. I'll be adding my brinjals which I have cut into quarters. I've used 2 large brinjals. In goes some water, salt to taste, and some turmeric. Quick mix, and we'll give this a nice boil. You can also make this with roasting the eggplant. Traditionally what they do is they roast the eggplant and then remove the peel off the skin. But what I'm doing is boiling it and I'm going to peel off the skin later. Now in another kadai, we'll be making our gutsu powder. So for that, let me switch on the flame. I have this small kadai here and I'll be dry roasting my ingredients. So we'll start with some urad dal. This is around 2 teaspoons of urad dal. And 2 teaspoons of chana dal. I'm just going to dry roast this. And when it changes color a little, I'll add my sesame seeds. I have used black sesame seeds. If you want to use white, you can use white, or you can use equal quantities. When it just starts to change color, I'll add my sesame seeds. What I've done is I'm using black sesame. If you want, you can use equal quantities of white and black sesame seeds. So this is again 2 teaspoons. Now that I have roasted my dals and removed them, now it's time for dhania and red chilies. Pan is really hot, it's not going to take a lot of time. Roast till you get a nice aroma. So these roasted masalas, we are going to cool them completely and then grind them into a nice powder, and this is how the gutsu powder is going to look. You can store this in an airtight container and use as required for your recipe. Let's check on our brinjals if they are done. Now, as you can see, the moisture, it's reduced, and you can see that the brinjals are definitely cooked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cool this and just mash it coarsely. Now if you want, you can peel off the skin also, which is what I'm going to do. If you don't want to, you can avoid this step. So let's peel this. And what you can do is, like I said earlier, smoke your brinjal and then do it. You can follow any of the procedures. So now it's time for some fun. Let's mash the brinjals. You can be neat and clean and use a spoon, but I just feel that this works better. We're just coarsely mashing it. And once this is done, it's just time to make our gutsu. Now let's make our gutsu. Same kadhai. In goes some oil, around a tablespoon or 2. And once the oil is hot, we are going to add a tadka ingredients, a little bit of mustard, some fenugreek, hing. You can use whole hing also. I am using hing powder in this recipe. Curry leaves, green chilies. You can omit this also, but I personally like a combination of red chilies and green chilies. Now quickly Add in your mashed brinjals. Quick mix. Dash of turmeric again. And here I have some tamarind which is dissolved in water. Now this is a little smaller than a gooseberry sized tamarind which I have used, dissolved in water. That goes in. Mix this up. Now the water that I used to cook the brinjals have not been discarded. I'll be using that also in the recipe. Around half a cup. Salt to taste. Always use minimal salt. Always taste. You can always add salt as required later on. If you add a lot of salt, then you're going to have an issue. So now we'll allow this to come to a nice boil. So now that this has bubbled away for good 5 to 7 minutes, I'm just going to reduce the flame and add a prepared gotsu powder. Just going to sprinkle this. Now this is going to thicken the end recipe. I'm using this entire lot. This is a good mix. Now remember that there is still some aroma of tamarind coming in. So what we are going to do is we are going to still cook this for 5 more minutes. I'm going to add a little more water. And I'll be adding one more ingredient, that's jaggery. Now this is optional, but I'm adding this because I like this flavor of tamarind and your jaggery mix. So a little bit of crushed jaggery goes in. Don't worry, this will melt inside, so you don't have to be too careful. Simmer for 5 more minutes and your brinjal gotsu is ready. So now this has been simmering away for good 5 minutes. You can see it's bubbling and this is the consistency, nice and creamy, not too liquidy. Now what I'm going to do is switch off the flame and just check for salt. It's always better to check for salt before you serve. Nice and tangy. I can also taste a little bit of jaggery, but I think it can do with a little bit of salt. So there goes some salt. Quick mix, and now let's serve this. So a katrikai or brinjal gotsu is ready. Now it's a classic accompaniment with ven pongal, but if you want, you can also pair it with idlis, dosas or any other Indian breads that you love. What are you waiting for? Please make this recipe, and if you like this recipe, do hit on like, share the recipe and subscribe on India Food Network. Wishing everybody a very happy and prosperous Pongal, and then until next time, it's Preeta signing off. Bye-bye.